episode, this crucifixion, was counterfeited. It's probably the best translation. It's a form of the word sabha. Yes, it is. No. What's the word? You have the two kinds of verses. What are the two kinds of verses in the Qur'an? The muhkamat and the mutashabihat. Yeah, shabha. Shabha. It was made doubtful. So it may mean they killed the wrong man. It may mean they killed nobody. But what we know is they didn't kill the Messiah. That's what the Qur'an has to say. What is the surah which inspired you most? How you embraced Islam? Well, there's various things that are impressive. I guess one of the first things that occurred to me was that I mentioned this ayah that challenges you to find mistakes in the Qur'an. There's the Surah Hadid, begins by saying, in the third ayah, Huwa al-awwal wal-akhir wal-zahir wal-batin, which tells you that no matter where you start, there's something you can't escape. Something there is which is first, last, outermost, and innermost. And look in that place. That's where you find God. And of course, the Surah Al-Ikhlas. That's one of the... in just these few words, there's a wealth of material there. Somebody asked the Prophet one time, where did God come from? And he didn't say, as most Muslims say today, this is a Satan's question. It's a very good question. He quoted that surah. It gives at least 4 answers to that question. Each ayah gives you an answer. It would take a lot of discussion to go into it, but each verse of that tells you what's wrong with your question, or what is the answer to it. That was impressive to me. Does the Qur'an mention anything about purda? Well, it's not exactly on the topic, but the word purda, of course, is not in the Qur'an. I imagine everybody knows that. But it talks quite a bit about suitable adornment for both men and women, what is required. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about that too. That too is a subject in itself, which sometimes I get into quite the discussions with people on that. You have an interesting example. For instance, I wonder how many people realize that what it tells a woman to conceal are literally her pockets. Pockets in her body. Pockets. You see, that can tell you a lot about what is required, which people don't often think about. They may just think, cover the woman. But it says cover your pockets. Because it specifically mentions there's some things you can't help. That's the way a woman is. But the pockets cover them. I don't mean pockets like where you keep your money. But you see, so there's a wealth of material there if a person would just even examine the Arabic. You find a great deal of explanation in just a very few words on that subject, which is, as I say, widely misunderstood, I'm afraid. I always hate to see somebody forcing something on somebody which is not required. But that too is a big subject. Yes?
Bismillah. I ask your permission also for the question, which has particularly bothered me because the description of the lecture in itself.
Of the which?
Of the lecture in itself, the amazing Qur'an.
Yes.
When we speak of Allah, we never arrogate unto ourselves.
We never have which now?
We never arrogate unto ourselves the right for an adjectival description. The Qur'an is the revelation of Allah. Unlike the Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who the Qur'an says is a man and a messenger. Forgive me for asking the question if you think it is something that is beyond the realms of the lecture in itself. But may I ask you that, do you think any insan who is created in this world has the right to arrogate unto himself the beauty of the Qur'an with just any adjective that can describe the Qur'an in the form of either amazing, loving, beautiful, holy, or anything of the sort?
Okay. Well, So the Qur'an itself uses adjectives that describe itself, and that's what I was trying to say. That, for example, in the one ayah, it mentions about the revelation that it made the prophet, it says ajibta, which means it surprises. It surprised him. The revelation surprised him. So if I say of the Qur'an that it is surprising or amazing, I'm saying what it says of itself. It's what it says it's like. That's not adding something. The word holy is really, that's a troublesome word in English, and I don't use it to talk about the Qur'an because it's inappropriate in English, technically. The word holy comes from the same root as you spell with the W in front of it, W-H-O-L-E, whole. So that people are not holy. There's only one who's holy. It's Allah. He's one. That was the original understanding, even in English, of the word holy. You only apply that, you said, God is holy because He's one whole thing. Nobody else is one like that. But it's fallen into such careless use that people talk about holy men and holy this and holy that. And that's unfortunate. Even the Arabic word, what kadus, is sometimes translated holy. That's not really the best English word for that, because that gives a misunderstanding of this. Only Allah is holy. The Qur'an may be kareem, what other words? They say majid and some other descriptions like this, but not holy in the proper meaning of that word. It doesn't talk about itself that way. Okay?
Of the revelation, because it is part and parcel of what Allah is to us, because we see Allah only.
Yes, I suppose. Technically, suggest the Muslim has a different approach, just to give a comparison for what we're familiar with Christianity. The Christian says God revealed Himself to us. The Muslim says, no, God can't reveal Himself. Man can't absorb this. But He revealed His will. He revealed what He wants you to know. So that's, I think, what you're talking about. That the speech of Allah is what He wants you to know. It's not Allah. So you couldn't describe it that way. That's what, usually when the Muslim and a Christian use that word revelation, they're talking about different things. It's happened to me many times. Somebody say, what does God reveal to you? I say, He told me what He wanted me to know. They say, no. What did He reveal?